What is the polar coordinate system? Well, the polar coordinate system is the idea that not every pattern is described best by a grid. Sometimes it's easier to describe the distance from some central point, and the angle compared to some sort of orientation. So this is an example of a polar grid, and we call 0, 0 the pole, which used to be the origin, and then this is called the polar axis. Um, so as we rotate around in the counterclockwise direction, we increase the angle, and as we go further away from the origin, from the pole, we increase the radius. So we describe the polar point r comma theta is r units away from the pole and theta counterclockwise from the polar axis. Please be aware that r and or theta can be negative, and theta can be in radians or degrees. So the idea here is that if I wanted to describe this point, I would be saying, okay, I'm going 5 along the polar axis, and then I'm going to rotate 60 degrees. So we would call this point 5, 60 degrees. So let's identify these coordinates. So A is 4 radially and then 30 degrees of a rotation. So 4, 30 degrees. B, well, you could think of it as negative 2, 0, but it's more likely that you think of it as positive 2 because it's 2 away from the pole and 180 degree rotation. C, let's see, this is at 6. So 6 is the magnitude, and then the angle is 150 degrees. Lastly, D is 9 is the radius or the magnitude, and the angle is 315 degrees. I described all of these in terms of positive r and positive angles, but I could have described them in terms of negative r or negative angles in some cases. So let's plot these polar coordinates. 3, 45 means let's go to 3 as a magnitude and 45 degrees counterclockwise. So here's A. B is, okay, negative 8. This means that we're going to go negative 8 out here. And then we're going to go 60 degrees. So we're not going to end up at 60 degrees from negative 8, 0. This would be negative 8, 0, the opposite direction of going positive. Then we go another 60 degrees counterclockwise, which brings us here. So this is the value of B. You'll notice that this is the same as 8, 240. Because 240 and 60 degrees are 180 degrees apart. So here would be 8, 60. Here's negative 8, 60, which is the same as 8, 240. 5, 90. Sorry, negative 90. So 5, and then we go negative 90. That means clockwise. We're going to go in a clockwise direction, which brings us to here, which is the same point as 5, 270, as you see, but we can describe it in terms of a negative angle, and it's still the same location. And D, negative 10, so that's over here. And then we go negative 150. Negative 150 is actually clockwise. So we're going to go 150 degrees this way. If you're having trouble figuring out exactly how much it is, you can think of taking 180 and subtracting the 150. So 180 plus negative 150 gives us 30, so that's where we're ending up. So here is D. Negative 10 and negative 150. This is the same thing as positive 10 and positive 30 degrees. So be aware that a negative means starting in the left direction for the magnitude, and negative 150 says that we're going in a clockwise direction instead of counterclockwise.